Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion, plays Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. You gotta look at it. You gotta look at it. Who we got here? Samson. No, Azazel. It's perfect. Azazel has not done a run to the end. He has done... Wait a minute. He's not done a run to the negative. That's fine. Don't do Azazel. Just do it on this... We gotta do Azazel at some point, okay? CN9V7M3Z. There's always the chance with Azazel, you end up having a little bit of a snoozer. I would never dispute that. So, you know, you start with Brimstone. Even a short Brimstone is like... It's powerful, you know? It's like being in the culling and you're like, oh, I only have a shotgun. Look, I probably should have referenced PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds instead, but in Battlegrounds, you know, you get a gun all the time. So what I'm trying to do is harken back to the more modest days of the Battle Royale genre when perhaps that firearms were a little bit more rare. So if you had one, you were already in like an amazingly advantageous position, which is how we are right here. You know, we got such ridiculous damage output. Yeah, we got to get close to enemies, but it's a small price to pay. The Sun card is also really good. Either way, though. You know, we did our last run as Blue Baby. It was tough to start with. Then we got the shears, and it was actually pretty easy. Then we ruined the shears by using them accidentally, and that wasn't very smart. But we came out of the, you know, he's smelling like a rose at the end of it regardless. We also picked up Magic Much. Magic Mush, not Magic Much, like Much Music in Canada. So, Magic Mush, obviously, I mean, our damage is now absurd. It was already really good, but it's approaching madness levels. I think we gotta check this double key room. Unfortunately, not a reroll room, but hey, you know, a little bit of HP. Not gonna turn up my nose at that, because I've got a problem with his baggy clothes. Trying to think, like, well, what do we need as Azazel? First off, we need to provide an entertaining run. Secondly, we don't need boss rush, so we don't have to speed through the run unnecessarily. I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid when you got 9 point whatever damage. Little Molly Percocet there. Mom's Wig. Oh my god. Mom's Wig is Azazel. I think we just got really good luck there. But as long as you're holding the charge button down, you can spawn spiders. That's amazing. So as, like, this interim period where we're going from room to room, we can get, like, an unbelievable cache of spiders working out in our favor here, potentially. You know I gotta hit this up a little bit. I mean, like, every time we charge up these shots, we're presumably gonna be making, like, 1 to 5 cents, so... I'm probably not gonna break all the poop on the room, but that card ended up being very valuable. At least it wasn't a freaking Hanged Man card like we usually get. Sometimes we gotta do 2 passes, and that's just outrageous. I mean, I don't want to spend my whole life shooting these poops. I think we're striking a balance between, you know, taking forever and doing our due diligence here. So, you know, this gives us enough money to be very productive for the remainder of the game, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's just bust up these ones. Okay, maybe not those ones. Those ones didn't want to be busted. There you go. 1 cent per quadrant here. There you go. Oh, you've broken my heart. 2 of them broke my heart. Probably should go to the secret room, but I'm like back on my BS again, if you know what I mean. This run it's triggered the Zane right off the bat, and a little range upgrade as Azazel never hurt anybody. Let's take a Thame and bank this remaining HP for the future. We might end up doing boss rush just because we can at this point. I mean, we were 3 minutes in on the Caves 1. As long as bombs can't destroy my spiders, I'm never going to complain about it. So how do we use a Thame to our maximum advantage on a run that's already, like, so powerful that I doubt we'll get hit very frequently? At least until the final bosses that punish you for having a little bit of a lower range cap. But, honestly... Do we have Dull Razor unlocked? Is that a booster item or is that an Afterbirth Plus item? Because if it's Afterbirth Plus, we might have to unlock it, but we might have already unlocked it. Otherwise, Dull Razor Once every 2 rooms, you pop a Thame, crush the enemies with the circle, gain some demon hearts in the process, and, like, before you know it, you're off to the races, my dudes. And I'm loving this mom's wig payout as well. It also, I'm assuming that, you know, behind the scenes, it's kind of tied to our tier stat. Because, you know, the tier stat with charge tiers just changes the speed at which you charge. But I'm assuming that it also influences how frequently it checks to see. Look, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm probably like a superstar programmer. I've taken a couple of programs. Well, I've taken like 8, but anyway. I'm assuming that every time the tier fires, if you have Mom's Wig, it essentially behind the scenes rolls the dice or flips a coin and goes, does this guy deserve a spider on this one due to the arbiter of randomness? And I'm assuming the higher your rate of fire is, even with charge tiers, the more frequently it's going to flip that coin, and thus the more times you're probably going to get heads, because you're buying more lottery tickets. You gotta go blank card, and then you gotta check. Blank card Emperor. Dude, I mean, that's, like, extremely good. Yeah, I think we're out of here. So, blank card Emperor is, I mean, it's amazing for, like, several reasons, but one of the big ones here is that if we wanted to, we could probably finish this run in, like, 8 minutes. The other one is that we can use it to get out of boss rush. And if we end up being low on HP, which, you know, I'm not going to say I'm a perfect Isaac player. Has happened, even as Azazel sometimes. We can skip a lot of those floors that are unlikely to have good benefits to being there. You know, rewards for existing on those floors. Like the womb, for example, and instead just rush it. So remember, we're going to Shoal this time. I got to remind myself that because it's happening pretty quickly here. No, I don't want... Whatever you're selling, I don't want it. Yeah, get out of here. That's a garbage item for a garbage player. That's not for me. Look, I'm like that Bruno Mars song. That's what I like, you know? What does he say? I forget, because I've heard it on the radio, but usually I'm driving, and when I drive, I am focused, because I treat driving as a responsibility and not a pleasurable activity. He says, beach house in Miami. Not interested personally, but if that's what you want, more power to you. I mean, as a millennial, ooh, rune bag blank card. Now we're talking. That's what I like. As a millennial, the concept of owning a house is a little outrageous. And then you're talking about a beach house. I don't know what the real estate market's like in Miami. I mean, it's a major city, so I'm assuming it's like, you know, not cheap, but maybe cheaper than some other places. As we move down here, we might as well... I mean, dude, we got the perfect, like, Mom's Wig payout here. We got more rate of fire, which is what we wanted, and then combine that with a little bit of this hot action from Hive Mind, and all of a sudden we got these spiders that are doing, you know, 18.36 damage when they collide into an enemy. Not enough to kill most enemies, but, you know, when you get 8 or 9 of them in a row, it's enough to put a damper on even, like, the heaviest boss here. So I think you blank card the Gauze, and then you degauze, grab yourself a little bit of extra HP as you move forward here. And I'm exploring, because why wouldn't I? You know, we got plenty of time here, and these floors have a tendency to provide us with some useful advantages. So I think we're, you know, we win the more we explore. On this floor, at least. In the future, that could change pretty easily. He also, Bruno Mars says, everything 24 karat, and I don't even know what that means. I don't even want a salad with 24 carats in it. I recognize that it's a reference to jewelry, I just don't, is 24 carats, high value jewelry? Is it the more carats the better? Is 24 carats like a standard luxury item? I don't know. Because that's not what I like, that's what I like. If I was Bruno Mars' love interest, what would I ask him to get me? I don't know. If he could max out my RSP and TFSA contribution room every year, that'd be nice. It's like our version of a Roth IRA and whatever the other one you guys have is. I can't remember. In the US. I say you guys as if you're all American watching this, which demographically is not quite true, but it's up there. I think we should just walk so that we save our charge here. I would ask him, hey, you know, you make millions and millions of dollars a year. If we're flying somewhere, could you pay for my ticket? I don't want to sit in first class. I've never bought a first class ticket in my life. Perhaps one day we'll reach that point where I feel comfortable paying way, way, way too much money for, like, an experience that's usually less than 10 hours long. I somehow doubt it, though. But if you could pay for my economy ticket, that'd be fine. Because, honestly, Bruno, you're not even going to notice, is the thing. We gotta be careful, by the way, because if we accidentally teleport into the mom fight, we're stuck in there. Well, we could use our Emperor card to get out, I suppose, but... Like, I'm not gonna ask you to make sure we're flying on a private, like, chartered jet, dude. Just let me sit in coach. I kind of don't understand the value proposition of first class. And I'm gonna be honest with you. There are times when I could probably afford getting a first class ticket and not sweat it too much. It might be dishonest to suggest otherwise. However, I talked to other content creators, and I'm not naming and shaming here because I don't think there's anything to shame. You know, they pay for the ticket, they can talk about it. However, they're always like, they have a tendency, I think, to almost talk down to you. They're like, well, if you fly a lot, there's a big difference. And I'm like, I fly all the time. There's nothing special there, nothing special there. I fly all the time. Well, if you took long flights, you would know. Dude. Second flight I ever took in my life, 14 hours to South Korea. Not back to South Korea, but I've been to Japan, you know, like to and from like 7 times or something. Well, 7 is an odd number because that implies that I'm there right now, I suppose. But no, you know, I've been flying overseas. I've taken a lot of 10-hour flights. Here's my airplane situation, alright? Here's what I do. I get on, pop the headphones in, watch a movie. Rinse and repeat. It's like a while loop. While the flight is not on the tarmac at the destination that we're going to, watch movies. That's it. Try to sleep. Sometimes you can catch like a cat nap. Rarely, though. I just think the first class is like some wealth signaling or something that I don't understand. And I used to, like, when I would walk, you know, you board the plane, the first class people are already on the plane. People just donate a bunch here. This is the kind of run where this is suitable, but you walk past the first class people and they're like getting champagne and, you know, oh, so can I offer you a wet towel? And, you know, when I was younger, I was like, dude, one day I would love to be a first class boy. But now I don't feel jealous when I walk through the first class section because I understand that they give them free alcohol so that they are a little too inebriated to realize that they're paying, you know, $800 to sit in a nicer chair for like 2 hours. These are the same people that go to the mall and their kid would be like, hey, Mom, can I sit in the massage chair? Sweetie, that's $2 for 10 minutes. It's a waste of money. I'll take one first class ticket, please. Madame, that would be $1,500. Oh, just put it on my miles. You know, I mean, when you get it for miles, that makes sense, but I know some of these people, they're paying cash for it. By the way, as always, I want to point out, many people watching this have probably flown first class. Like, you don't understand, it's worth it. If you think it's worth it, that's the spirit of economics, okay? I'm an unabashed capitalist. Despite it, you know, sometimes you get too much credit for it. Don't read that far into it. Sometimes, you know, it's a cardinal sin on the internet. Don't read too much into it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. And that's the spirit of the capitalist system, is that, you know, you pay what you feel a good is worth, or what they're charging you for it, and you have no choice because it's medicine. You know, one of the two. Either way, if I could bank a few hundred to you know, 1,000 or more extra dollars just by sitting in a chair that's relatively comfortable but not quite as comfortable, sign me up, dude. That's the easiest money I've ever not spent in my life. We just Yera nothing, despite there being an Emperor card on the ground. I find it, and you know, let's turn it back around on myself. I find it hard to spend money on myself as an experience. Yeah, well, 50-50, because you know, it's no secret Kate and I do travel. I've cut down on it massively. Oh, that's Degas, not Yera. Right. It's the Visual Studio logo. Mostly because, you know, come to terms with the fact that I have a job to do, and I love doing it. So I don't like to be away. Being away is almost more stressful than being on the job a lot of the time. As bad as that sounds, and I do think it sounds bad. You might think that I'm trying to, you know, sound honorable. That's not the case. I think you know, knowing when to disconnect is very healthy. No. Okay, we gotta see what the eyeball tears do as Azazel, even though they're garbage. They don't seem to do anything. Get out of here, dude. That's a double tinted rock, I think, right there. Interesting. But apart from that, I don't know. I find it hard to spend money on myself. I don't want goods most of the time. Did anyone else relate to this? There's gotta be, because I'm cut from the same cloth that I think a lot of people watching this video will be cut from. I actually don't like owning expensive material goods because I'm clumsy and like prone to losing things from time to time. So it almost feels like you're giving me a chore. Like for our anniversary, Kate was like, I gotta get you something nice. And I was like, no, you don't. I'm not gonna take any offense. And I'm not just saying it. I'm gonna take zero offense if you get me nothing. And she goes, no, I can't do that. And I go, I mean, but you could do that. Hagalas. It's a bad Hagalas. It's actually kind of dangerous. You could get me nothing. In the end, she didn't get me nothing. She got me a nice belt. So now I still dress like I'm in 11th grade, but I got a nice belt to go along with it. Which doesn't matter because I never tuck in my shirt because I'm self-conscious about a little paunch that I'm developing at the end of my young adulthood. But you know, one day that's going to be taken care of and I'm going to show off this belt. Definitely. Okay, grab that. And we're steamrolling this run right now. We almost like have to fight Hush just to pad out the video length here. I don't understand it. You know? I mean, I guess I do. I suppose the idea... We're gonna, by the way, go for... we're gonna go for this curse room because we could get the Guppy Dream, which with Hive Mind, you gotta go for it. I guess the idea is that luxury goods are nice, you know? My parents are pretty modest, and I think I inherited that to some degree. Well, I don't even want to know. It'd crash the game if we go through the room like that. I think I inherited a little bit of that from them, and, you know, they were like, you know, their philosophy was, you know, a discount good is just as good as a luxury good. You're just paying for the label. And I think that a lot of the time, that might be true, but, you know, I've encountered some luxury goods, and I'm like, you know what, that's nice. We park our Ford Focus next to, like, you know, a couple Mercedes coupes down here in our parking garage. Oh, you gotta grab this. I look inside the interior, and I go, you know what? Their interior is nice. It's nicer than our car, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. But I just don't... you know, someone will, like, drive a Tesla, and I see it, and I'm like, that's a nice car, but I don't really want it. I mean, if you were giving me a car for free, and you're like, do you want your Ford Focus? Or do you want this Tesla? I'd be like, you know what? You've been good to me, Focus, but give me the Tesla. But if they were like, you're gonna have to pay for the Tesla or the Ford Focus, you know what? Oh, that was scary. You know what? I'm fine with the Focus, dude. Does not bother me. PhD. Now, I'm not trying to make myself out to be a saint here, or like extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Frugal? Because I'm not really, you know? I'll buy name brand foods. I eat out now and then, probably more than the average person. Except Austin. Is it really eating out if you order in? I would say yes, but you may disagree. But the material goods thing, I just never understood. I was the same way, like, as a child. And I'm telling you this not to seem braggadocious, but rather so that if you're out there and you're like, I feel like I'm the only one, you're not. And there are dozens of us as you enter adulthood here. Excuse me, sir. I see it a lot in the YouTube community, and I'm not gonna, you know, bite the hand that feeds here at all, but I think it's, you get this, you know, you kind of are in the interest of maintaining a public image, I guess, if you're running a big YouTube or a Twitch channel. And then combine that with the fact that a lot of the people running these, you know, a lot of these personalities, because it's video game focused, tend to be a little bit on the younger side. I see a lot of people bragging about spending their money on luxury goods. And I'm like, dog, your salary is basically publicly available information. I don't know if that's an astute financial decision, but you know what? You gotta, first off, you choose what you value, and you throw your resources after it, no question about it. But then secondly, like, don't let me tell you how to live your life. You gotta make your own mistakes, and that goes for me as well, I'm sure. But when I see, like, a 19-year-old YouTuber and they're like, check it out, I bought a Ferrari, I'm like, ah! Don't do that! That's crazy! Just my personal advice. Just my personal feeling. Why don't you throw that in an index fund making 7% annually? Then in 30 years you could buy 8 Ferraris. Or, like, 200 Ford Focuses, which is really where I would be operating my own Ford Focus taxi fleet, assuming the corporation still exists when I'm 65. Also, cars will probably be self-driving by then, so maybe save on labor costs. Either way, I'm just letting you know, I was the same way as a kid, you know. When I was young, like really young, I wanted things, you know. I always wanted, this is like my crown jewel, like, if I had $1 million, what would I buy? I would buy the $300 Toys R Us pool table that also converts into a ping pong table, that also converts into a bad pinball machine, that also, you know, is like master, jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing. That was like my dream purchase, and I never got it. But one of my friends had it and it sucked, and I was like, you know what, I'm glad I didn't have it. But then, like, from the time I was like 11 onwards, my parents would be like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, I don't know. And then they'd be like, you know, it's December 20th, you gotta give us some clues, and I just like write down, you know, some names of some CDs, and be like, yeah, this is what I want. The self-titled debut album from Bewitched. In hindsight, not a good fiduciary decision, unless, you know, one day it becomes a collector's item, which is kind of why I keep bringing it up, in the hopes that maybe one day that'll come to pass. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I'm not, you know, I'm not like you're an idiot if you want to buy a, you know, a Gucci pair of leggings or something like, I don't even know what that means. We just got Maw of the Void, dude. That's dynamite. But I'm just letting you know, if you're out there and you're like, everyone seems so vain, don't worry about it, man. See, my philosophy is you don't judge a person by the clothes that they wear or the car that they drive. You judge them by the decisions that they make at the grocery store, because that tells you who's who. We have no keys, by the way. We definitely should not have opened everything on the Hush fight. But I'm glad we did the Hush fight, because we actually have not done it before. We did do Boss Rush before, but as Azazel, but we've never done Hush. What? Oh, no! I was supposed to go down to Shoal. I'm a big old moron, man. Well, thank God we fought Hush then. We took the negative and then we fought Isaac. Wow, what a great idea. Hey, for now, thanks for watching. I acquiesce and request permission for my idiocy. Never attribute to malice that which can equally be explained by ignorance. If you enjoyed the episode, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thanks for watching, funding my economy tickets, and I'll see you next time.